Many of us start off the Christmas season with a trip to the Santa Claus parade. Let me show you how, with a few DIY projects, you can make this fun Christmas table. For my table, I start with a red tablecloth. Red just screams Christmas. Then I put down my road. I used white felt that I got at the Dollar Tree. If you have a white runner, you can use that too. When I was practicing this, I actually used white paper and it works just as well. You just have to remember it needs to be flat because you're going to be setting things on it and you don't want things to fall over. Then I set up my little floats to get the spacing correct. I bought some little Christmas tree trucks from the Dollar Tree because we need to pull the floats. So let me show you how I made my floats. It was very simple. My parade floats were very easy to make. I just used pieces of scrap wood, 6 1/4 by 7 1/2 pieces, and they were just scrap pieces of wood. Then, because we want the float to be standing up a little bit, I just used 2 little scrap pieces of wood across the base, and that lifts the platform up. I then covered them with a little piece of felt, and that just hides all the rough work and everything. For this, I just used a glue gun for doing all of this. For the wheels, I cut the wheels out of cardboard. I just drew circles, and then I kind of drew around them to make them look like little wheels. I just glued them on, and that's our float. Very simple, easy to do. So all Christmas parades need a marching band. I got my little marching band. I just Googled it. I just Googled marching band and thousands of different things come up. So I just picked my favorite. I used decorations from my own collection. This would also be a great time to have your kids make the decorations. They can make snowmen. They can make angels. It would be a lot of fun for them to make the pieces to put onto the little floats. All Christmas parades end with the Santa Claus, so I have my Santa Claus. And I just fill out my floats. Oops, lost an arm. This is where your kids could use their toys. We're big Doctor Who fans in my house, so we used a TARDIS with the Doctor Who and a little Dalek that's chasing them. We have an angel. So like I said, you could have your kids make the floats and it would be a fun activity for them to do. Then to make my street scene more complete, I DIY'd some lampposts, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I started off with 5 squares, which is 1 1/4 inches. Then I counted up 8 squares, which is 2 inches. Because I want my top to be a little wider, I went 1/2 inch wider, half a square on each side wider. I marked it. Then I marked where my center point was. I drew a line and I continued the line up. So then I count up 5 squares, which is 1 1/4 inches, and mark the top point. And this is going to be the peak of our roof. Then I join all my pieces together. And that gives me my basic shape for my lantern. Then to join the pieces together, when I go to glue them, I need little flaps, some glue flaps. So I just kind of drew some flaps on. And I drew some on the bottom. I made the bottom one a little wider than these side ones. When I've got this done, I cut it out and I cut it out, and then I use this as my template to draw my pieces for my lamppost. I cut them out of, this is cardstock. These little ones here, I just used some cardboard. Whatever you have around, it has to be something that can hold its shape, but that'll bend well. So you trace around it. When you trace it out, you end up with something like this. So you need to reconnect your lines in again. I made 4 of these. I cut 4 of these out. As soon as I cut them out, it's much easier to color in the black frame and to color in the sides before you start gluing them together. So then I take my pieces. I just bend where I'm going to have where my top's going to be, my sides, and this gives me the shape that I need. Then I start attaching the pieces together. I like to use my glue gun. Love my glue gun. So I like to start with the sides. Glue them all together. And we just fold them around. This is like being back in grade school when we made squares and triangles and things. Same principle. Just hold it until it kind of sets. Then we start and we do the same thing for the top. A little bit of glue. And there we have our lamppost. Before I start folding these bottom pieces, I cut a little slit through each of the pieces. And that way when I put the pieces all together, I'm able to put it onto the base. So I just kind of glue these pieces together. And that's my little lamppost. Once I put this on, I realized it was missing something, and that was a little crossbar. So I simply cut it out of black paper, or out of black cardboard, or you can use cardboard and just color it in. I just used a magic marker, colored it in black. That was the easiest way to do it. So I cut it out. It was about 3 inches long, about 1/4 of an inch wide. Paint both sides or color both sides black, and then it just gets put on, it gets glued onto the dowel with your lamppost, like this. To stand them up, I had some modeling clay and I just stuck the posts into the modeling clay. I did use a little bit of extra hot glue just to make sure it stayed. Then I decided I wanted to put the string garland across my street. I tried at first just using the garland, but it kept pulling the poles. So I got a dowel, a much thinner one, and just hot glue gunned it onto the lampposts like this. Then this little greenery I bought at the dollar store and just wrapped it around. Then I wrapped my little lights around it. But I cut out some felt and just made little circles to go around it, and it hides the battery pack for the lights. To add a little bit of punch, I bought some tiny Christmas lights from the Dollar Tree, and I've added them to my lampposts and my floats, and it just gives the table that last little punch that it needs. So let me turn them on. Can't find Santa's light. As a final little touch, I'm going to add some of this shredded snow. I'm just going to put it along the edge. table's ready to be set. Once the snow's down and your lights are all turned on, it's time to set the table with your dishes. These are some fun little dishes my mother gave me, and they kind of look like a Christmas parade, so that's why I used them. Thank you everyone. I hope you liked my table. Please hit the subscribe and like button and tell your friends. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment section. I will be back next week with a new table. I'm doing a girlfriend's Christmas dinner and a movie theme. Until then, happy decorating.